Hello there. What is going on, everybody? I wanted to do a Star Wars Legion list build using Assajj Ventress. She has recently been spoiled, and we have all of our information for her, and I thought this would be a great time to do a little experimentation on our lists. We're going to talk about this in today's video. I'm going to run through like kind of the first round and then the first draft of the list that I came up with, and then we're going to go into the second list that I came up with, and hopefully you get some ideas based on this. I'd love to hear some of your ideas also. If you guys are new here to the channel, we are doing a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway right now. All you have to do to enter to win that or any of the giveaways we run is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Also, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens, fully compatible with Star Wars Legion, as well as tokens for other games such as X-Wing, Magic the Gathering, Keyforge, Arkham, you name it. Check them out. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Don't forget to use code Crabbok VIP while you're there. That's going to save you 15% off of your order. You're going to love these tokens. Definitely check them out. All right, so I'm going to be using Tabletop Admiral today. I don't know, we'll put a link to the final list down in the video description below. But I want to start off looking at Assajj Ventress. She's a really cool operative. She's got Relentless, Jarkai Mastery, which means she was going to want dodge tokens. She's got Indomitable. She's got Dodge 1 automatically if she doesn't get an order with Independent. She's got Deflect, and she's got Jump 2. Just a really, really mobile and awesome character to really be offensive. And I think one of the things, for a character like this to strive is we're going to need to have a lot of activations. So we're going to be running a little bit higher of an activation count, but not as high as I'd like, because I feel like for her to to hit all her maximum potential, she might also need Dooku to go with her. And so when we were looking at her, I used to run this list called 7 Sabers. That would have General Grievous with his 4. It would have Darth Maul with his double-bladed, which I count that as 2. And then the 7th would be Dooku's. But now, with Assajj Ventress having a double 2 lightsabers, we've sort of got all types of sabers represented. And so, you could do Nano Saber, right? Or 9 sabers. And that would be Grievous and Dooku as commanders. And then that would be Maul and Assajj as your operatives. Now, this does work within the limits of the points. You still have to have 3 core units. And in this case, the go-to option would simply be 3 B1 battle droids. That brings you up to 774, right? You can't add a 4th B1 battle droid unit. That would put you over to 812, although I guess you could potentially drop 1 B1s and add a B2s. That would bring you to 781. You could do those things, but that's not really, you're not really looking for B2s if you're doing a list like this. You want as many activations as you can. Those would be 7 activations. It's a little low on the activation count, even though you do have Pass as a mechanic now, but also you leave a lot of Dooku, Grievous, Maul, and Assajj without many upgrades, and so it becomes kind of tricky trying to think about what are the upgrades you're going to take, what are you not going to take. Where do you have Force Push? Do you give Force Push to Dooku so you can do a little bit of that? Do you give Grievous his Annihilator pistol? You're really quickly running out of points now. Are you going to give anything to Assajj? Are you going to give anything to Maul? Like, I really love giving them Tenacity, right? Something like that. You almost have to run Tenacity on Maul, and then you have nothing left for Assajj. So there's a lot of things you can do here, but there's certain things you can't really include. It becomes harder to justify a Force Push with this one, even though it's a great upgrade. Well, maybe you get locked up and engaged. Well, maybe you've got 4 other melee people all right there, so maybe you can handle being engaged on one, because then it's just like now they're stuck in place, ready for Grievous to come through and cut them down. Maybe you're going to have Grievous go strictly melee and relying on a command card for him to do some ranged, and then it might free up some more points. But either way, you're really only going to be able to outfit one character with decent enough upgrades, or like 1 or 2 upgrades on like 2 characters, to be able to really make this work. So this is more of a meme list that could certainly be fun, but you'd have to run certain characters bare bones. I feel like Grievous is a perfect candidate to run bare bones. Dooku doesn't need a whole lot, but there's certain things I would love to put on him. Things like Vigilance in this list would be really, really good. He can use it for himself, or he can use it on Assajj. There's a lot of really cool things depending on the situation. but I also like to run burst of speed. If I'm running only lightsaber users, I want to be able to get in there fast. Of course, that's an incredibly expensive upgrade, right? If we're going to be doing that force speed stuff, it's 10 points each. And are we going to give that to all of them? It becomes really tricky. So this isn't ultimately the list that I went with, but this was like the first draft. And there's a few options in here. I think it's still worth playing around with, but there's very little variation if you're going to run 9 sabers. There's not a whole lot that you can really do with all of this and still make it work. But I did keep 2 of these. So what I wanted to do is I want to start with Assajj and add in Count Dooku. He's got Cunning. He's going to have 4 command cards if we do this. We looked at all of the command cards in Assajj Ventress' unit card just recently. So if you want to go a little bit more of a deep dive on Assajj Ventress, we'll talk about that in another video. I'll put a link in at the end where you can see the Assajj Ventress kind of preview video that we did already. Now, Dooku on the surface doesn't need a whole lot, but I'm going to be putting a lot of upgrades on these 2, but I'm going to put all the other units out there first. So I'm going to run another commander. I'm going to run a T-Series. I think one of the reasons for this is that a lot of my command cards are going to be Dooku and Assajj focused, but I still want my B1 chain working, and the T-Series is going to be able to do that with direct, and he's also going to be able to... You can do a little bit of bolstering, but really he's going to be able to start my droid chain, so I can do whatever I'm going to need to do without having to worry about, I also have to give an order to a B1 to start the whole chain. We're going to run 5 units of B1s, and we're going to do some fun stuff on them. Let me put those out there for the basic units, and I am going to run a strike team of BX droids. And this is going to be 9 activations. We're at 610 points right now. The rest is going to go into upgrades. We could squeeze more activations out of this. We could get a lot higher. Of course, the strike team is going to have at least at a minimum the sniper. So we could add some other things if we really needed to. Like 2 more droidicas. We'll get up to 11 activations right there, or another B1 unit or something like that. But I want points in upgrades also, but there's definitely some flexibility. One thing I do hate doing is running B1s completely empty because they tend to suffer a whole lot. So what I want to do on a unit of these is I'll leave one of them completely empty, like maybe towards the end of the chain, but I'm going to put at least 2 of them with the E5C1. That's, of course, it's a really good upgrade. It turns these guys into a respectable unit at least. Having at least 3 black dice in there plus all your whites, you're a lot more likely to see some damage get through. So we have 2 units of B1s with the E5C1. I want a little bit of anti-armor potential as well, because we don't have much for anti-armor in this particular build. And so I'm going to put the 60R B1 in here. I'm not going to use it all the time, but they're a pretty nice nice option to have if you do find yourself facing some tanks. And one of the reasons that I'm putting them in is they're also fairly cheap. So like that counts. Oh, here we go. Let me put this back in there. There we go. Add 1 more. All right. So that's we've got. Wait a second. 1 unit. E5C1. 2 units of the E5C1s. We got the E5B1. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. I grabbed the sniper. Okay, I want that to be the E60. There it goes. All right, so we have 2 units of the E60, and then we have 2 units of the E5C1. And that is going to do it for my B1s. Now, one option, if you're playing around with B1s, you could certainly consider putting the portable scanner on some B1s. This is going to hand out some dodge options. Normally, this is kind of so-so. It's not bad to do this with Jedi, but in this case, I do expect that Assajj Ventress is going to be a little bit a little bit farther away, because portable scanner only works at range 1. And I think if Assajj is staying at range 1 of my B1 battle droids, then maybe I'm doing something a little wrong, because I think I want her kind of sneaking in and doing some crazy stuff. With all that said, let's jump down to our sniper. Our sniper is going to have a couple of things. We're going to put the deflector shields on our sniper. I really like this. It kind of helps, definitely helps their survivability. Shielded 2 is going to be super groovy on these guys, and I'm going to give them Hunter as well. Gives them, even if they lose out of activation, but if they're shooting, trying to finish off, a character, or somebody's threatening my lovely Dooku and Assajj, then of course they're going to be able to provide some extra cover fire and extra range. The list lacks a little bit of range, and we have a couple of E5C1s that have a nice little firepower in this, and with the 60s, we have range 4, a little bit of coverage for range 4, which is certainly useful. Although they are an exhaust, which is always a bummer, but it's a good amount of impact and a good amount of range, and on a cheap enough platform that I don't have to add a whole nother unit for it. Like I don't have to add spider droids. Again, spider droids are great, but this just works into my B1 chain, and it also means that I have less order manipulation that I have to worry about. And it leaves most of my order potential to really come down to Dooku and Ventress, and that's where I'm going to put some upgrades. So let's start off with Assajj Ventress. She's the sweet assassin. I want her to have burst of speed. We talked about this before. It's very expensive, 10 points. I'm going to let her go speed 3. I'll let her really get into position. There's going to be those turns where I need her to move speed 3. I am going to also put that same upgrade on Dooku. I want them to stick together. I want them to go in for the kill at the same time, and that's going to allow just that to happen. Once they're both in the thick of things, they can afford to be slowed down the next turn to speed 1. Hopefully they'll already be there. Assajj is also going to have force reflexes. She's going to get a free recover at one point during her stuff, and I figure this is probably better. Like sometimes we'll put a training upgrade to give somebody a free aim token or whatever. This is better on her because she's going to be able to use that dodge token to upgrade a die, and that's going to turn a blank into a guaranteed hit. So I love that. So she's going to run force reflexes and not force push. How did I click that? Force reflexes. There it is. Okay, so she's going to run burst of speed and force reflexes. She is also going to run tenacity, where I know she's going to take damage, and if she doesn't, then that's fine. That's 6 points to ensure that she doesn't ever get hit. but she of course is going to take some damage as the fight goes on. The Jedi and the Sith always do. But I'm also going to give her defensive stance. The offensive and defensive stance one is usually a lot of times used as an offensive stance only, but in this case for defensive stance, she'll kind of be in defensive stance and offensive stance, right? For an aim action, she'll gain 2 tokens, and if the situation is right, she'll be able to when she does a dodge action, she'll get 2 tokens, and she'll be able to then also burst of speed right into someone and be able to to make all of these things happen. So it could be a really big turn for her if she's at just range 3 of the target she wants to engage. You activate Assajj, you pop force reflexes, pop burst of speed. Well, you have to pop burst of speed first, then pop force reflexes. You'll already have maybe 1 dodge token. Presumably, you may have 2 dodge tokens left over because Dooku is going to start off with the vigilance. We're going to give Dooku vigilance. Hopefully he's close enough, right? So Assajj will start off with, she'll have 1 left over. She'll hopefully not have an order token. She'll be able to get a free order token for independent dodge 1. She starts off with 2. She then takes a dodge action, gains 2 more. She then, pops force reflexes, gains yet another, and then moves at range 3 into melee with somebody else, triggers Indomitable, and has 5 dodge tokens to spend. So now she just has to roll all of these dice and hope that there are not 6 blanks. 6 or more blanks. Because other than that, it's a guaranteed 8 hits. It's a virtually guaranteed 8 hits. So with Pierce 2, it's absolutely magnificent. I love it. So that's why we want offensive defensive stance on her, combined with burst of speed. So pretty cool stuff. You could even get more than that if you had, if you were going to keep her close to droids and do other dodge shenanigans. But that's the way we're running Assajj. Let's look up to Dooku. Dooku's going to have a couple of slightly similar things. Dooku is also going to have a force reflexes. Again, a free dodge token. Dooku definitely wants that also for defensive purposes. And he is going to run force push as well. This one is just going to be good. He can get somebody off of Assajj who's trying to, it's not so much about protecting himself. I think he was trying to protect his apprentice in this particular build. And so force push is going to help him kind of reliably keep, some stormtrooper unit from trying to tie up Assajj. He's like, "You cannot date my daughter," and so that's what he's going to be pushing all those dudes away off of Assajj Ventress. That's kind of what we're looking at here. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put an upgrade on the T series, and I'm going to give him Inspiring Presence. We got some new panic rules now, and it could potentially be a feels bad, So I want to, and also it allows us a little bit more options in our battle cards. So Inspiring Presence is going to let people use my courage from a little bit farther away. So we if we have to spread out a little bit, we get a little bonus on Inspiring Presence. So I thought that's kind of cool, and it allows us to kind of get our chain going. So the T series is going to have direct. He's going to activate one of these B1s, then another one, and another one, and another one, and that last one will be able to forward it to the strike team. So even with just the one sniper, I don't have to worry about. Hopefully, I won't have to worry about AI dodge or move. So on multiple turns, I should easily be able to aim and shoot with my strike team. And be able to do really good things with those double red dice that have lethal 1. If I'm shooting against somebody else, I can then still have an aim available to reroll dice if I need to, but I'll have that aim that I can then get Pierce 1 shots at range 5. So a lot of cool stuff happening in this one. The list has a little bit of a weakness towards armor, but we have a couple of these guys to help us with that. These guys also, in theory, should be able to aim and shoot. Or shoot and recover, kind of depends on how they want to do all of that stuff. But I think that'll be a fun one. And they can also, the 2 that I have here against an armor, I can always do a bolster 2 first and make sure that those 2 rocket droids have that surge token and kind of go from there. Plus we do have Dooku and Assajj also with their impact on their lightsabers, and they're going to be able to do some nasty things. If Assajj decides she wants to go after a tank, again, she can always spend those dodge tokens to upgrade those hits into crits and really make short work of a once proud, beautiful tank. She should be able to slice down in no time. So I think that's a little bit more of a balanced list than the type of 7 sabers or the type of Jedi list that I've run in the past. And we have 9 activations. It could totally work. Well, we got command hands to think about. Now we have a lot of cards that we can potentially use in this case. I'll tell you what I am thinking about for these cards. First off, I'm going to run all of Assajj's cards. They are brand new to her, so I want all of those in there. Of course, the Jedi Shall Fall is going to be a good one. It's going to really boost up her attack. That's when she really needs to go. She's going to gain dodge tokens this way. She won't have her one normal dodge token, but she's going to have so many. And it also allows her to move twice. Even if it doesn't have the opportunity to take a dodge action, if she's still in that defensive stance, she can still just be like, all right, well, I got like 4 dodge tokens, so let's go. Love it. All right, I Am Fear, again, a really cool option, really good to be able to have a range 1 attack potentially, and it's also after the end of her activation, so she can still do her melee, and then she can also be like, oh yeah, boom. It's not versatile, though, but still pretty cool, especially if she's getting into position and you don't think she'll quite be able to get there. Or as a follow-up, after you do pop her burst of speed, she is going to be slowed down to speed 1. This is a good one to pop there. So even if she can't make it into range, she's got a range 1 attack. It helps make up for that lack of range. And then, of course, Yes, My Master. This is one we're going to be starting out with. You're going to kind of make a choice on this one, depending on your opponent's list. If they're running units that are immune to Pierce, you're probably going to want to have Makashi Mastery. Demoralize 1 is also really cool. Outmaneuver is going to be pretty cool for her. You can cancel those crits. You may be a good heavy sniper list or somebody with got a lot of surge to crit. You may want to think about that with also. Well, if you do have some things like Padme and R2-D2 and you're trying to think about some kind of bounty options for her, you can also look at the bounty and reinforcements options of her top half here. But I really like the bottom half a little bit more because of Makashi Mastery. I think it's just such a rare ability, and the fact that she can gain that is incredibly cool. So that's our 1, 2, and 3. I am also going to put her new one, The Sith Will Rule. This is actually a command card for Dooku. We talked about this in our breakdown as well. This is going to allow them to double team. You'll notice it's a 3-pip, but counts as a 2-pip for list building. So that one's going to go in. So the Sith rule goes in, which means we have two 2-pips, which means I'm not using double the fall on this particular build, and that's just, it didn't make the cut. It's still a great card, but it's not, it's not fitting the theme of this list, and it doesn't always work as well, I think, as it used to. I think it's more replaceable now. I still love You Disappoint Me. Going to totally go with that one. And still going to totally go with Fear, Surprise, and Intimidation. Relentless and Arsenal 2 on Dooku is just a really, really fun card, especially with his burst of speed. One thing you'll notice about this card is while we do have our typical 7 cards, yes, my master is going to come out first, which means we're really only going to have 6 cards, which means that we're going to, at least once during a game, have to play standing orders. And I think that works out fine for this one, especially for maybe a first turn, just to get it out of the way and get you kind of caught up. You're able to do something like put standing orders on Dooku, or even Assajj right away. You could potentially put a standing orders on Assajj right away. You might not need that dodge on the first turn. This way you'll have 2 commanders in the pile, and then the T-Series tactical droid will start your chain doing direct to droid trooper units, and then you have full board control at that point. So I think that's probably a good option with a list like this. You can totally make up for the fact that you won't have that, you won't have that one extra command card, because that first one kind of goes out and just gives her extra abilities. So that's basically the list. I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. We have certainly done a lot of stuff with this build. I think there's some things that you can consider changing. You could easily drop I Am Fear in place of double the fall. And one of the reasons you may want to do that, although I won't do it just yet, not on my first time playing with this, is because I want to test out I Am Fear. Right? I want to use. I was hurt one of Assajj's new command cards. I definitely want to use it, but because Dooku has cunning. And cunning is such a cool keyword, breaking ties if it's his own command card. You kind of want to take advantage of the fact that Dooku now has 4 command cards. He's got 2 different 2-pips, which means the only way to beat Dooku is to play a 1-pip or a 0-pip if you're Han, or another 2-pip if you also happen to have cunning, right? But that's those are corner cases. So it means he's going to win a lot of ties. It means you're really only beating Dooku with a 3-pip, unless of course Dooku plays a 3-pip. And you play a 3-pip, or rather, you're only really beating Dooku if you play a 1-pip, and it doesn't. So he's just going to be able to win so many ties with that. So that's something you may want to change and take advantage of. But I think for your first game, probably a good idea to use all of Assajj's command cards. I'm kind of curious if any of you guys are actually considering an Assajj Ventress unit, kind of going into a list that doesn't include Dooku. Would you run Assajj solo with just droids? I mean, I think that could definitely work. She's certainly priced well enough for it. You could easily fit, I could fit a couple more activations. For the 232 points I have in Dooku here, I could totally take him out and put in some more special forces, or even some support units, and really kind of, pad the activations. I could probably get up to 12 activations here, and still having a really deadly Assajj. So there's certainly a lot of other options, but I want to hear from you guys. Let me know. Be sure to join our Discord. We have a great family-friendly Discord. Links are down in the description below, and you can find social media, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Also Patreon. By the way, thanks to all of my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this whole channel possible. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will talk to you soon. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. You can't take the sky from me. Cowabunga and hi-ho, Silver.